Hello and welcome to the couch. Today I'm joined with my co-host Ewan Grant, and we're going to be talking about some free agency grades. I've got the AFC, and Ewan's got the NFC. We're going to go through probably division by division. I'll do the East, you'll do the East of yours. Go through, talk about it, and then next week I think we're going to be doing a whole full round or full 3-round mock draft.
Yep.
For all the teams, and so that'll be fun. So make sure to tune into that. But if you want, you want to just hop right in?
Yeah, why not?
Um,
I'm flattered you upgraded my title.
I mean, you've been on it so much now. So, um, that doesn't come with a pay raise though.
Okay.
You still make $0, just like I make $0. So
Oh.
don't, yeah, don't worry. Um, but yeah, you want to start with the NFC East because I got the AFC East first.
Yeah, sure. So we got the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Commanders. I'll start off with the Cowboys because that's what is listed first on the NFL website. Um, so I thought it was interesting. They signed 2 running backs.
Yeah.
They signed Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. So it kind of seems like the dream of Genty to the Cowboys might be done for Jerry Jones. I don't know. I don't know if this is a sign that they're not gonna try to maybe trade up or target him in the draft.
Uh,
Um,
I mean, to me, I think a lot of the running back needy teams went out and got running backs.
yeah,
And none of these guys are stellar. I mean, I think Miles Sanders was really solid. Javonte Williams is definitely really solid.
yeah,
Um, but I think that it's more of a sign that they don't think Genty's going to be there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that, especially because it happens so late in free agency too. I don't know how far Genty's going to go now too.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, other they didn't really have any super noteworthy signings. They did sign Dante Fowler,
Hmm.
solid pass rusher. Um, They signed they traded for Kyrie Elam from the Bills. They re-signed Osa Odigizua. I think that's how you say it. For 20 mil a year for 4 years. The Cowboys did a Cowboys free agency.
I mean, better than last year.
It's better than last year,
Way
better than
last
most
year.
Cowboys free agencies, but I don't know. This is like a C minus for me.
Uh, yeah, I have to agree. I think the Cowboys could have done better. I think that it's honestly a lot more desirable situation than a lot of these teams that did do better than them.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I'm,
mean, well
I'm
then
really,
again, they're also working with I don't know what their cap space looks like, but now that they're paying CD and Dak, they did restructure their contracts, I think. They got quite a bit of cap space back from that.
well, not even just that. I think that even with the limited cap space, teams are going to find a way. I mean, the Saints are in negative cap,
Yeah.
and they still are finding ways to do
I
things.
mean, they just signed Brandon Cooks last night.
Yeah, so I think that that's not really the biggest issue. I think it's more just like they didn't really make any of the big moves, and um, after coming off like a 7-9 season,
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have your quarterback. Um, but yeah, I think a C, say C minus.
I said C minus, yeah.
Yeah, I think that realm is pretty accurate.
Yeah. All right, I'll move on to right now. All right. So next up is the Giants. So they signed Jameis Winston, so it's basically an A plus. That's really
Yeah,
all
I
you
mean,
need.
he's just a glue guy.
Yeah. Yeah. They really well, I mean, outside of their secondary, they really didn't do much. They did sign Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland. Um, that Javon Holland deal was weird too because I think it was reported that the Vikings offered him like 20 mil a year
Mhm.
and he opted to go with the Giants for 5 mil a year less. Um, but I mean, outside of that, I guess they re-signed Darius Slayton, which is, solid little move. They're paying him 12 mil a year. Um, I'd give this like I, other than that, there's no one else. I'd give him mm, like a C plus.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. I think that what they did was a lot better. Like they didn't sign the whole list of guys or
yeah,
go out and get some big names.
yeah,
But I think they hit on what they need to do, and it's fixing that secondary.
yeah,
I mean, they have Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. Like that front seven is not bad,
yeah,
and I think that just getting linebackers in the draft and improving that secondary is going to be kind of the main thing that's going to kind of bolster the defense because there's so many problems on the offense.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job at addressing the needs on defense. Um, and I think this Giants defense next year is going to be pretty good. Jason
Yeah.
Pinnock is like a great role player to me, and I think that when you have that kind of depth in those players, that is what makes the defense elite because you can have Dexter Lawrence come off and still be able to generate pressure and stuff like that. So I go a little higher than that, but yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. All right, you guys, the Eagles. So
I will be strict about this because
Yeah.
I have strong feelings.
So I like I like the Zach Bond signing, the re-signing. I mean, I think that was he was the number one guy to re-sign on the team.
Oh yeah,
Um, I like the Josh Uche. I am shocked you guys got Ojolari for that cheap. You got him for like what, $8 million a year?
yeah, I think
For a
so.
year? I mean, that's insane. I wanted Azeez Ojolari since mid-season because I knew he was going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
And
I was seeing a lot of stuff about on Bears Twitter of like
Yeah.
of people being pissed off.
Yeah, I wanted Azeez Ojolari, and I was like, all right, I think maybe he'll probably be asking like 15, 18 a year, and then you guys sign him for 8. I was like, bro, this is ridiculous. You guys did sign. You also extended Lane Johnson and signed Adoree Jackson and uh, AJ Dillon, who I like. I don't know. AJ Dillon, he's gonna be a good like third down back, but I wouldn't like I don't think he's anything insane. But I like the Adoree Jackson signing. He's kind of a nice little vet to have, kind of a nice cheap replacement. Well, I wouldn't call it a replacement, but a nice little role player to fill in for Darius Slay in that locker room, especially now because you have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon.
Yeah, they're kind of the
They're the new big guys because you guys are cutting Bradbury and you cut Slay. So
yeah, I think that this is honestly one of the better.
I'd give it an A.
Yeah, I think that that's right around it because it's not an A+. I mean, I think A+ is getting Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Or some other big name, and I think there's still some trades to do, like trying to shop Bryce Huff. I know the Lions have called about him, and trying to shop Dallas Goedert too. I think that
I've seen you guys are shopping him pretty hard.
Just trying to free up some more workable room in the next year. I did think the Lane Johnson thing was kind of confusing. Of like,
you guys just gave him a year, like you added a year on and then some money.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's good. I want him to be there, but then Becton leaves. It was like, so we traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson to essentially extend Lane Johnson a year.
Yeah.
I do like the move for Kenyon Green. I trust Jeff Stoutland too.
That's a guy you traded
for CJ. Yeah. And I think we got a little bit of draft capital. I think trading Kenny Pickett was good.
Yeah, you guys got DTR for that.
Yeah, DTR and a 5th or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So I really do like what Howie's doing. Obviously, no, not everyone's gonna stay. I was hoping we would be able to keep one Zach Bond and one other one, but it just seemed that other teams were offering so much money that they didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean Milton Williams is now the 3rd highest paid D tackle,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
I saw.
I like Milton, but there's no way we could.
I saw that contract and I was like, really?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But I do think that we've hit on everything we've needed to. I think we've lost a lot of the key defensive players: Sweat, Milton Williams, Slay. But I mean, we have some veteran guys. We got Adoree Jackson. We got Josh Uche. We got
Azeez Ojolari.
Yeah, Azeez Ojolari. Like, I think we hit on some of those things because we lost a couple of depth pieces like Isaiah Rodgers and Oren Burks too.
Yeah.
But I really like it. I really trust Howie. I know it's kind of divisive, especially in the Eagles community.
Yeah.
Of people are like, "What is Howie doing?" But it's like that every year, and I'm excited for the draft.
Yeah. So now we got the Commanders. The Commanders are I would give them an A, but there are a couple signings that I was kind of like, really? But they traded for Tunsil and they traded for Tunsil and Debo, which I feel like kind of make up for kind of some of their more weird signings. like they signed uh who was it? Javon Kinlaw to like a 3-year, like 15 mil a year deal, which I mean he's decent, but I wouldn't have been like that was one of the first signings of free
Yeah.
agency. It was like Javon Kinlaw to a pretty decent contract, and I was like, really? They also signed. They re-signed like some decent guy like Cleveland Farrell. They re-signed Bobby Wagner. Just a lot of those older kind of role playing guys that really just help with that locker room. And I mean they're good players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I'd give him like a B, like a B plus.
Um,
I think that Laramie Tunsil trade really helps to boost this for
uh,
me.
for me, the Commanders have a weird spot because it's like they have so much money, and I think that they did a good thing. Like, go get the guys who are decent and give them good contracts because you have money to do it.
Yeah.
Why not? If you can't get the great guys, give them the money. Don't
Yeah.
just sit there with it. And but yeah, I like the Tunsil trade. I think that was good for both teams. Tunsil was not really playing the greatest last year for the
Yeah.
Texans, and now there's a big name, a veteran guy on this Commanders line. And then Debo, I thought that was a very similar situation where it's like he's not working out really
Yeah.
in San Francisco. He might have a better.
They give up like a fifth?
Yeah, it was just a fifth, and it was great value, and I think both teams got a good payday for that.
Yeah.
Well, so now that you're done with the East, I'll go ahead and go to a team that has a very similar situation to the Commanders. Is the Patriots.
Mhm.
Had a lot of money,
Mhm.
signed a lot of guys, and I
Yep.
I I think that the Patriots might be having the most underrated offseason right now.
They're having a really good offseason.
It's really good. Stole Milton Williams from the Panthers.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That was insane.
That was crazy.
My when free agency was all going down, my buddy Carson is a big Panthers fan. We were driving the car, and he was like, "Let's go, we're gonna get Milton Williams." And he was like, "But I haven't seen the contract details yet." And so we're driving, we kind of lose service for a little bit, and we come out where we have service, and his Twitter finally loads, and it's like Milton Williams is signing with, and it like cut off, and then I looked down at my phone, and I was like, "Oh, it's with the Patriots." He lost his mind. I I think that the Patriots did a great job.
Yeah.
Getting Milton Williams, someone they like because they have the money to do it. I mean, why
Yeah.
not make him that highly paid if you have the money to do it? Robert Spillane, Morgan Moses, Mac Hollins, Marcus Epps. I thought that was good. They got a Josh Dobbs. I think is a great
Yeah.
backup. Harold Landry.
Yeah, that Harold Landry signing, I really like
Yeah,
that.
and
For them.
Carlton Davis. I'm not the biggest fan of Carlton Davis. I think he gets. I
Yeah.
think teams attack him too much, and he gets exposed. But still a great signing because they have the best cornerbacks coach in the NFL,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think whatever problems there will get fixed.
I
Oh,
wouldn't have given him 20 mil a year. That's the one thing I would have.
well, that's the thing. I if I'm a GM, I'm going to spend the money when I got it, and
Yeah.
bet on the players to do it. And I think the one thing they didn't do was get May a big time weapon, and that's the only reason I take off any
Yeah.
points because this is an A plus if they go and get T Higgins or DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And that's a lot easier said than done. But they didn't get him any weapons, so they're gonna have to turn to the draft or maybe later on in this cycle. But I'm gonna have to give it an A minus just because of that. But really underrated offseason here for the Patriots.
I agree. Yeah.
And then I want to go ahead and go to the Jets, who I think had a pretty solid offseason. Got Fields, got the quarterback of the future.
Mhm.
Andre Cisco, I really like. Brandon Stevens, Josh Myers. I think that those are all solid guys. They didn't have a long list. Like they weren't one of these teams who was going to go out there and
Yeah.
get every guy. But I think they got pretty good value for everyone they got. But I think they need to work on the O line a little bit more. I think that
Yeah. They only signed 2 offensive linemen.
there was three. There's one at the bottom.
I'm only seeing Josh Myers and Chukwuma Okafor.
I,
Okorafor.
no, there's one at the bottom, or because you're looking at the CBS one, right?
I'm looking at the NFL one.
Oh, okay. There's some other random guy, but it literally didn't have his contract details.
Well, they lost Morgan Moses
Yeah.
and Tyron Smith, or they just didn't re-sign Tyron Smith.
I Tyron Smith.
Yeah, I think he signed with the Jets last offseason, didn't he?
No, he was only on the Dallas Cowboys.
No, he was on the Jets last year.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, he was. They did not keep him. They
Yeah.
did lose him. But anyways, yeah, I think they need to improve the O line
Yeah.
um a little bit more because it clearly was not working out last year.
Yeah.
Um, and improve that pass rush. You have Aaron Glenn, a head coach. You need to be making sure this defense is pristine. So I give it a B+. Um, Pretty good rankings. Uh, or pretty good moves, but it could be done more.
Yeah.
And then I got the Bills. This is one of the best off seasons too. It's about as good as you can get. They kept
Yeah.
Josh Allen or extended him. They kept Shakir and
Mhm.
Rousseau. I think those are all great retentions and extensions. And then they also got some improvements at pretty much each need, like their pass rush for Joey Bosa,
Mhm.
and then Josh Palmer getting another weapon. He's not a standout guy, but he's pretty solid.
Yeah,
And
he's a
I
good
like that.
he's a good 3. A good
Um,
2 or 3.
and Dane Jackson, I think he's gonna have a better season than last year to help fill in that secondary. And I'm going to give this an A. I think that when you make it to the playoffs and you don't really have a lot of money to work with, there's only so much you can do. And I think that they did a pretty good job at spending their money. So, yeah, I give it an A.
Yeah, I agree.
And then for the last team, and then the AFC East, I got the Dolphins. This one's bad. Dolphins, I think, might have had the worst free agency.
Yeah.
Um, this is really bad. They got Westbrook Akine, which I like. I think he's pretty solid. He's coming off his best season.
Yep.
Zach Wilson's backup. Alexander Madison and James Daniels, but I think they need to do so much more to buff up this O line.
Yeah.
They
Oh, they signed Larry Borum though. Well, former Bear. He is terrible. He is
like
so bad.
yeah,
He's so
and
bad.
I just they did not improve it enough, and this is one of the reasons that Tua is constantly not playing because their offensive line is it's why that last year when Tua was hurt, they were playing so terribly.
Yeah.
They lost Robert Hunt, and their O line has regressed so much, and so um yeah, I'm just gonna have to give this a D-. It is
This was a bad,
bad,
bad
bad, and
offseason.
especially like Tyreek makes comments at the end of the season like I don't want to be here, and you keep him around.
Yeah.
Especially after a not great season. I don't know if the market is just isn't there.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't want to be on my team when we suck, I'm trading them.
Yeah.
And I'm really surprised there wasn't more action there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the AFC South for me or AFC East for me. Do you want to go ahead and do the South? Because I have
Yeah. Well, the NFL page just blacked out. Give me a second. The South, NFC South. Yes, let's do this. So we'll start with the Falcons. So not a very not a. They signed some guys. They weren't active. Very, they signed Leonard Floyd to a nice little deal. I like Leonard Floyd. He's a good rotational guy. Um, Jamal Agnew, Kadero Hodge. I don't know. I'd give this like a C. This is a pretty
yeah
middle of the road. Didn't do much, but didn't do nothing.
yeah. I think it's more about who they lost,
Yeah,
right?
they did lose Judon hasn't signed anywhere, has he?
I don't think so.
Like they didn't re-sign Judon. They lost Grady Jarrett to us and Andrew Dahlman.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd give this like a C. This is a
Yeah,
very
it's I really thought that this was going to signal a lot more of a rebuild. I think Penix looked fine,
yeah.
but it's clearly not the time to win right now.
Yeah.
And
Well, and they're oh god, what are they paying Kirk Cousins this year? It's something
yeah,
absurd. It's like 100 million, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
Can't be that
It's
much
a
though.
lot. I don't know the contract details, but it is a lot. But I'm surprised they didn't move Kirk Cousins. I'm surprised that they didn't move Kyle Pitts. I thought that was something that could be something where this is the last year of his deal. They might be able to get some money for him, or not money, but some draft capital instead
Yeah.
of spending the money to extend him when you haven't really seen much outside of his rookie season. Um, and so I was surprised that they played it like the Cowboys did last year, really not doing anything, running it back with the same squad essentially.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see what they do come draft time because with a shocker last year and taking Penix, there might be a couple more shockers
I
this
agree.
year. So um, Yeah, I agree with the C. If that's it, and that's at the best. Yeah.
So next we have the Panthers. I think this is another very underrated offseason. I really like the Rico Dowdle signing. They
Yeah.
only got him for just under $6.5 million a year. That O line is so good. I think Dowdle is going to be very, very productive behind it. I like the Christian Roseboom signing. He's a decent linebacker. I really like that Trayvon Morrig signing.
Oh yeah.
He's a very good safety.
Their safeties were so bad last year, and I think that
Yeah.
he's going to have a huge impact.
Yep. Mike Jackson. I like that signing. The one that I'm not a big fan of, while he is a good corner, J.C. Horn,
Really?
$25 million a year. That was the first like big signing of the day on that Monday, on that free agency day.
Mhm.
I I don't like that signing.
Really?
I don't. I like J.C. Horn. He's a good corner. I like that. But highest paid corner in NFL history. This to me was just like they had to do it. I don't like that they did it, but they had to do it because this was one of those things where it's like, uh, you know, kind of like a Pat Surtain thing, where it's like you should have extended him before Pat Surtain got a contract, and now he's making a ridiculous amount of money for the value he provides. Not saying he's a bad corner,
I don't.
not 25 million a
I
year.
really don't agree. I J.C. Horn is one of the best corners in the NFL, and when you have as much money as they do to spend, and you're not getting T. Higgins, I think that making him the highest paid DB and making sure you have that, because their defense is the worst in the NFL. It was like a historically bad defense.
Yeah,
Getting him, that's one thing you're fine with, and now you're able to look around for people to pair with Derek Brown, on that front four. And obviously they had Milt Williams, and then they just fell through. But I think that extension is good, and that part of the reason that he is the highest paid corner is because of which I think Derek Stingley immediately broke that.
oh yeah, he
Yeah,
broke it within like 2 days.
yeah. But like making him that highly paid is also due to the like increase in salary cap. Like it
Yeah,
increased a lot more than teams were expecting, and so of course you're going to get these giant contracts that you haven't seen because of that.
yeah.
But I mean, J.C. Horn is one of the best corners in the NFL, and he's kind of the life of that Panthers defense right now. So I like that one.
I'm not a fan of it. 5 interceptions over 4 years.
He's also played with a lot of injuries,
Yeah,
and
well, exactly that
and
too is like,
on some of the worst defenses, like his guys are covered, and nobody else is.
yeah,
Teams can literally just run every down. It was like the Colts last year.
yeah. I personally don't like the signing. Like I like him, but
Too much money.
too much money, too much money. I give their offseason like a B minus because I do like some of the guys they signed a lot, but some of them like they address the needs where they needed an RB2. They already have Chuba. They lost Miles Sanders.
And Jonathan Brooks is probably not going to
Yeah,
play.
Jonathan.
So
Yeah, God knows when he'll return. Now we have the Saints. Uh I mean, what I don't know what you want me to say with this one. This one is they signed Justin Reed. That was decent. They like did some weird contract negotiation with Cam Jordan.
mhm.
Um, and then they gave Chase Young $51 million.
Yeah, they did do that.
And I was like, I, I, yeah, uh, D, D,
D?
D.
I don't think it's that bad.
Chase Young is terrible.
He's not terrible.
He's terrible.
He is not terrible.
He can generate a pressure every once in a while, but he is terrible.
I I don't think he's terrible. I think Justin Reed's a good signing. I think they had
I
to
like the Justin Reed signing.
they got a hit on wide receivers in the draft. But they're working with a very tough situation. I think what they did with that situation is impressive. Not I mean not B worthy, but definitely not D worthy. I think C.
No, I'm giving him a D. I'm giving him a D. They need to.
Why do you not like Chase Young?
He's just not good. He's just never, and he's injured all the time. He's injured all the time. He can't get to the quarterback. Like, also, I'm putting this on the record. I'm looking at the camera right now. I think if a team is a certain amount over the salary cap, they should not be able to sign anyone. I think it's so stupid. I think it's so stupid that you can give what would it be? This is like, I don't know, like 40 million in contracts for the year while they're already over like 50. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. So
I'm gonna look
stupid.
at their salary cap because
They started with like negative 50. I don't know what it is now. Saints salary cap after free agency.
I was also very surprised they didn't trade Derek Carr.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I did not know this. It looks like they might have restructured Carr's contract. Uh,
That would make sense. I
I still hold my opinion from earlier. That's I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean the cap thing is like it's not final for a large section of like
Yeah.
the beginning of the league year, so it doesn't really matter. They just have to be able to figure it out then. I really don't know what happens if a team.
They're still paying Michael Thomas. Oh my god. Oh my god. They're paying Marshawn Lattimore $31 million in dead cap.
Yeah, they have like 50 million in dead cap space.
Oh my god.
The Saints have 33 million dollars in cap space right now.
I don't know what they did, but
They
they were.
restructured. That's what they're gonna have to do. Is they're restructuring a ton of guys every year.
That's insane. I did not think they would be over at all.
Yeah, they're still paying Marshawn Lattimore, Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston, Jamal Williams, and I don't know who that last guy is, but
They need to cut Taysom Hill. That's who they need to cut.
well, they are. They're supposed like
Is he designated?
well, he's not designated, but I've heard rumors of they're trying to trade him, or they at least won't re-sign them for 2026.
All right. Well, enough about the Saints and their absurd salary cap situation.
Yeah.
On to the Buccaneers. I like this offseason. I like the re-signing of Chris Godwin. They got him for $22 million a year, which is in this wide receiver market very cheap. Which I'm sure we'll talk about Jamar and T. Higgins.
Oh yeah.
Soon. Levante David they got for another year. I don't know what I think about the Hassan Reddick signing. They got him for a decent price, but you know, the Jets thought they were going to get him, and then he didn't play half the year.
But that was because he didn't even want to leave. He didn't.
Yeah, that's fair. He did get traded. I don't know.
Playing footsie with me under the table.
My
bro.
bad. My bad.
Oh,
My
my
bad.
goodness, this is a professional setting. I'm gonna have to get HR involved.
Oh, what's OTS going to do, bro?
OTS?
Sorry.
OTS is not our HR department.
Sorry. No, well,
Our
OTS
HR
is
department is me.
OTS is tech, and like this is tech, so I just figured that would be the lateral move. OTS is going to do nothing. There's nothing you can do.
OTS is
Anyways.
gonna kick your ass. That's
I'd give this a B.
B.
I'd say it was a decent free agency. I just think that they addressed some needs. They didn't address all of them, but I'd give this a B. Not the best, but it wasn't a bad offseason by any means.
No, I don't think it was bad, and I think getting Chris Godwin is huge.
Yeah.
And improving that defense. I think.
Well, Mike Evans has 1 year left on his contract, doesn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So, but I like this one. I think a B is a good grade. Let me move on to the AFC South now. This one, this is another division that was kind of all over the place. Colts. Let's go ahead and start there.
Yep.
I'm glad they did not get Aaron Rodgers, at least yet. I'm glad they didn't get Justin Fields. I thought they were gonna have to overpay him, and I think that they got a good deal in Daniel Jones. I really believe that because
I mean, they're only
really
want
wanna
to
bring in-
a year.
yeah, and I think if you really want to bring in competition for AR, which I don't see the need for, but if that's their plan,
Yeah.
go ahead. And I think that's fine competition. Kind of guys in similar boats where they've had disappointing seasons. They're both trying to earn it back. I think that competitiveness from them could help improve them both.
Yeah.
I do think they need to beef up that line. Definitely get some better receiving help. Um, excuse me, and improve the defense a lot. And they did that. They did that because they got Cam Bynum and Charvarius Ward. That secondary is a lot better now. But I think that getting another linebacker in the draft and getting another guy from on the D line is really going to help that team become more well rounded. Because right now they are, like that glass, like that special piece of glass, or if you make it in a certain way, like the tip is super super hard to break. If you
Oh,
slam it, and you like smack.
a Prince Rupert's drop.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's kind of the Colts to me because their offense, they have Jonathan Taylor's amazing.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is great for Jonathan Taylor, and that Anthony
Oh,
Richardson
anymore.
in some games, well, not as much anymore, but Anthony Richardson can have these big games and actually perform well. And that's like the hard part of it. And then you just turn it over, and then the defense is there, and then you also have like Anthony Richardson's accuracy issues, and it just smashes.
Yeah.
And so I think that if the Colts can make it more of a marble and not a Prince Rupert's drop or whatever, if they can make their team a marble, it'd be a lot better this next season. So I'll give them a C plus.
I agree with that. I think a C plus is good. Not only because they signed really good guys, like I love the Charvarius Ward and the Cam Bynum signing, but they also lost guys on the offense, like their inability to retain Will Fries and who's the other guy?
That's a hilarious
Kelly.
name. Yeah.
Will Fries, yeah.
Will Fries.
Will Fries. Me working at McDonald's.
I will Fries.
Sorry, hold on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will Fries. I will Fries.
But yeah, I agree. A C plus, just because they weren't able to really retain.
But I also don't know how much of it is that they want to retain. Ryan Kelly's old. I don't think that Will Fries is necessarily a guy they need to give another contract to when all these other offensive linemen are getting big contracts.
I just feel like when your quarterback is Anthony Richardson, sorry, no shade to Colts fans, but you just need to have a good O-line. And
I honestly think it's mostly receivers. I mean, we were watching a lot of Colts games last year, and the receivers were not catching the ball. Like AR would throw, like it would finally be an on-target pass, and then they would drop it.
I think it's a combination. I don't think losing offensive linemen will help at all.
No, it's not going to help, but it's a combination. I think that those are the two biggest weaknesses. Or well, I guess the defense is the third, but they've closed one off.
Yeah,
they spent their money doing that, and I think that's good because it's not. I think that they can hit on the D line. This is very good defensive class. I think that there's still a lot of solid tackles and guards in this class too. So I think they'll be able to shore up a lot of that. But moving to the Jags, I think this is another terrible offseason. It's just not a place people want to go, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Jacksonville and play for who's their head coach? What's his name? The guy from the Buccaneers, Liam Cohen.
Good Lord.
Duval. Dude, I just they're even if they have a lot of money, no one wants to go.
No one wants to go there. Hey, they got Johnny Munt though.
They did get Johnny Munt. They got Johnny Munt. But yeah, they have a lot of cap space, and they just have not made any moves. You got Eric Murray and De'Ami Brown. That was kind of the only notable signings to me, and I'm just surprised.
Even the De'Ami Brown sign, I was like, okay, he's like a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and his issues fumbling. Yeah. So I think that
the only signing I really like is Patrick McCarry.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I'm just surprised they didn't blow it up. I mean, you hear all those rumors about Trevor Lawrence getting traded. ETN just had his worst season.
He was terrible this year.
Yeah, the only bright spot is Brian Thomas, but I'm surprised that they did not try and blow it up.
Yeah, I don't. How did Joshua Hines Allen? How do you do this year?
I believe this was probably one of his worst seasons, but it was also because their corners are so bad.
8 sacks. Yeah, I mean,
Like their defense is also just really bad. I mean, you can't do anything when you're the only guy there.
Yeah.
So I give this a D. I think they really didn't address any issues. They kind of did what the Bulls do every year, which is like
Try
not
to tank and then
like
don't
yeah,
tank
try and
well.
tank,
Yeah.
and then they didn't even tank the best,
Nope.
and then they got no value for the players because they tanked.
Yeah.
So I give that a D. And then looking at the Texans, I think that this is a much better free agency than last year. I think, um, you know, getting Derek Stingley, that huge contract, that's great. 30 mil a year. I love that. Got CJ Gardner Johnson. I think that he
Oh,
does
they signed
struggle.
Darrell Taylor. I wanted us to re-sign him.
Uh,
Well,
I think getting him he's a solid guy. He brings a lot of fire. I think he's not the
sorry, you're
greatest
talking about
safety.
C.J. Gardner
Yes,
Johnson. Okay,
he brings a lot of fire to it. To the game. Got Christian Kirk. That's a solid guy. I think that's
yeah.
perfect. Instead of going Stephon Diggs for wide receiver 3 or whatever, let's get Christian Kirk
Hey, don't forget Braxton Berrios.
and Braxton Berrios. But they sounded a lot of guys, and I
Yeah.
think the one thing they didn't do was improve the O line, which is something I'm going to harp on a lot because a lot of teams it's so hard to find good offensive linemen that it's hard to get them.
Well, they just signed a bunch of old. Well, first of all, they traded Tunsil.
They traded
Then they
Tunsil,
traded Kenyon Green.
which those guys were not helping last year. And I think they've just accepted that the line's going to be bad and that they have to do it through the draft.
But then they replaced him with injury riddled and old Trent Brown.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson and Laken Tomlinson, who are all older players on their, but yeah,
But like if you're one of the most sacked QBs last year, this
Yeah.
is not the thing
No.
that you need to be doing. You need to be at least going for one of the big guys on the market. But they did lock down Danielle Hunter, and I thought that was another really good signing.
Yeah. I like Danielle Hunter, but
Yeah.
it just felt like such an unnecessary I don't know. I was just at the gym the other day, and I was like, oh my god, they just made Danielle Hunter a higher paid player that year than Max Crosby, and it's
Which-
like he's good, but he's not that good.
I like what I was saying earlier. Like if you have the money, spend it. And I think that they probably realize there's no one else left to give the money to, and there's no point in keeping it.
Yeah.
And so might as well lock him down for a few years. What is it? Is it 3 years?
Well, they just added a year onto his contract.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I might be wrong about that. Danielle Hunter has like double-digit sacks in most of his seasons. So,
Yeah, Danielle
Okay.
Hunter is very, very
I'll
good.
take that back. I'll take that back.
Bro, looking at the stats and immediately walking his take
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Um,
I was not familiar with your game, Danielle. I apologize.
I'm gonna give the Texans a B. I really like what they did. I think that
Yeah,
it would be an A if they signed any important offensive lineman, but
Exactly.
really, really didn't.
yeah, that's the Achilles heel of this offseason is that offensive line.
And then the Titans didn't retain anyone of note. The beefed up O line was Zeitler and Dan Moore, but Dan Moore really needs to improve. He's had
I
rough
can't
seasons
believe they
this
gave him
year,
that much money.
and they gave him a ton of money, so they must trust in
Yeah.
in his improvement. They did get Xavier Woods, Cody Barton, and Van Jefferson, all decent guys. And it's like a non-ideal destination, but they got a lot of solid pieces, and I'm excited for them to continue the rebuild. So I give them a B minus.
I like that grade. I agree.
Yeah.
I think they did beef up the O line, but that Dan Moore signing is just that was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We are at 40 minutes already, which is a lot longer than I thought.
Okay.
So let's just keep going. We'll have a long episode. I think we'll just keep going and
let's take a break real quick. I have to go to the bathroom.
okay, so we'll take a break real quick and then we'll be right back. This podcast is produced by Student Media. Student Media is a student organization at the University of Evansville. Student Media produces the Crescent magazine published online and in print 3 times a semester. Student Media produces several podcasts and utilizes design, photography, video, and sound.
towards experimental and academic learning in journalistic endeavors and engaging storytelling. Student media elevates the voice of the student body and connects the campus and community to important information and points of view.
Hello and welcome back to the couch. We're back from the break. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna move on to the last four divisions. We got the West divisions and the North divisions. You said you want to do North.
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
All right, we're starting with the NFC North. We're starting with the Chicago Bears. Putting on my sunglasses for this one.
Good lord.
We killed it. Based on our needs, we traded for Joe Tooney, one of the best guards in football the last couple of years. Signed Drew Dahlman.
Bang.
Bang.
No, I got it.
Okay, all right. Signed Drew Dahlman.
Bang.
Signed Dio Odeyingbo.
Bang.
Signed Grady Jarrett.
Bang.
Traded for Jonah Jackson.
Bang. Bang. Bang.
Olamide Zaccheaus.
Bang.
And the rest are all kind of like bang. Just little. But I really like yeah.
Chicago Bears, you did
Chicago
it. You had a
Bears.
good offseason.
Three-time offseason champs yet again. There we go.
I'm really scared for this Bears team. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
We do play you guys this year, don't we?
I know. And
That'll
we're
be
gonna whip your ass, but
yeah, probably. I like the I mean, obviously, I'm in love with the Joe Tooney trade. Just because that's a position that we just needed so badly, and the Drew Dahlman signing is like our center was. God, who was it? Terrible. Doesn't matter what his name was. Terrible. He was terrible. Jonah Jackson one. I like him. I like we only gave up a sixth. He's been fairly injured the last couple of years, from what I understand. I do like the Dio Odeyingbo trade or signing. We're paying him like $16 million a year, which for what we could get, because he's very young and he's a very Dennis Allen archetype kind of guy. He's gigantic. I think he's like 6'5" or 6'6". And he's young. I don't think he's not even 26 yet, I don't think. Like he turns 26 later this year. So I think he's a very much like developmental rotational guy, and I like that signing a lot. I was surprised that Grady Jarrett signed a 3-year deal with us.
yeah,
Because he's like 31 or something. 31 or he's older. He's not like the oldest D tackle in the NFL, but for what we got, what we're paying him, I love that signing too. So I really like. I'd give myself an A.
Oh, okay. The humble A,
Yeah, the
not
humble
the
A.
A plus. I agree. I think that this is a really, really good offseason, and not even just the players, the staff.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I didn't
Ben
even think
Johnson,
about that. Yeah.
Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen. I think that's great. I think that combined with the players, this is going to be a very different Bears team. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just you got to nail the draft.
God, I hope we take Genty. I was all about those tackles.
I don't know.
We signed these guys.
I think you still go a line, but we'll talk about that next week a lot more.
I wouldn't be pissed, but I would love Genty. All right, next we got the Lions. They had a pretty average offseason. Besides, I will say, the one signing that really pissed me off, because now we have to play against him twice a year, was DJ Reed.
Yeah.
And they got him based on, there were other corners that were re-signed and signed before him for a lot more. And they got him for, they locked him down for, 3 or 4 years for, $15 million a year.
Yeah.
That one I was like, come on. That one was they knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
With that signing.
And Devontae Maddox.
Yeah, they did sign Devontae Maddox. But I mean, other than that, they did lock down Derek Barnes, who I like. He's a pretty decent linebacker. But they re-signed Dan Skipper, re-signed Tim Patrick. I'd give this a B, a B or a B minus. I think I'm leaning more towards a B just because of that DJ Reed signing.
Yeah.
They didn't lose anyone huge.
No.
But like, they didn't. Besides DJ Reed, they weren't.
I don't think that besides the defense there is anything they really need to do.
No. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Ooh, boo, stinky Packers. They've only signed 5 people so far. So, and one of them was 2 of these were terrible, in my opinion. Well, yeah. Well, everything.
Stand on business, bro. You already
Yeah,
said it.
no, they're terrible. They're stupid. McCole Hardman, garbage. Aaron Banks, 4 years, 77 mil, garbage. Isaiah McDuffie, I don't know about him. Probably garbage. Probably terrible. Nate Hobbs, 4 years, 48 million, garbage. Brandon McManus.
Whoa. Nate Hobbs is not garbage.
All right, you're right. He is a Madden franchise legend.
Oh, wow. He is a Madden franchise legend, but he's also pretty solid. I like him.
Yeah, he's decent. I don't know what they're gonna do with Jair at this point. If they're just gonna cut him or they're gonna try to trade him.
Because I had a dream last night, and I'm being so dead ass. I'm not making this up. I had a dream. First part of the dream was that I hit a hole in one,
Okay.
and like the hole in one was like 2 feet, like where we were, like where the starting was to like the green was like 2 feet, but it was like up a really high thing, so I had to like really flick it.
You like
So-
the ultimate chip shot?
Yeah, it was like, so I was like pulled out my putter, or no, like an iron or
I
whatever.
think if you're,
Right.
yeah.
And I hit it all the way up. And I made it. I made the whole one. We're celebrating, and I looked down at my phone, and it's like the Bears were trading for Jair Alexander. I was like, oh my god! I thought it was real life. I woke up this morning and I checked my phone. I don't know why I thought that was real, but it felt real. It felt real in the moment.
That'd be really weird.
So that's the only
Would it be? No,
it's the only way that happens if I'm on the pro tour
yeah.
and
you
I
hit
hit
a chip shot 20 feet.
100 feet up in the air that goes right in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I think this is kind of one of those Trey Hendrickson situations where they were asking a lot for him in the beginning, and they've just slowly been working their way down.
Yeah.
And I've heard they might just cut him. Which I think they'd much rather trade him before they cut him, but it might just get to the point where they're like, your cap hits too much, and no one's willing to offer what we want. So,
Yeah.
goodbye. All right, Vikings.
Wait, what'd you give him?
Oh, sorry. An F. It's the Packers. They suck.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're stupid.
Fair enough. No bias there.
No bias. Hey, 1-0. 1-0 in 2025, baby. And
4-0.
what?
The Eagles.
You are 4-0. Yeah, I know. I mean, the Bears are also 1-0. All right, just had to 4 times up me.
Yeah, and a Super Bowl
Yeah, and it's
where we bent Patrick Mahomes over and we.
that was the new button we
Yeah.
discovered.
Dude, I have to figure out how to load more of these things on there. I can't wait.
Dude, when we can get fart sound effects on here, they're gonna take us off the air.
Yeah, we were doing this before. We were trying to figure out how to like load on there, and I found like a 16-second fart clip. I guess I'm 3 years old because I think that's so funny. Is like someone's talking, I'm just holding the button the entire time as it
Holding a
plays.
fart.
Yeah. Anyways,
All right,
the Vikings.
Vikings. I think the Vikings, also annoyingly, may have had the best offseason so far.
Wow.
I think who they signed for the value, like, they completely changed both sides of their trenches. They signed Will Fries and Ryan Kelly, right? So they helped to revamp that interior, and they signed Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen to help revamp the interior defensive line, which was kind of an issue last year. They re-signed Aaron Jones, traded for Jordan Mason. They only traded a 6th-round pick for him.
Yeah.
And got a 5th-rounder. Wait, what was it? I'm sorry. They traded a 5th-rounder and a 6th-rounder for Jordan Mason and a 6th-rounder. So a pick swap, Jordan Mason for a 5th. I really like Jordan Mason.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
He filled in very well. They re-signed Byron Murphy, who's an incredible corner. Isaiah Rodgers they signed. They re-signed Harrison Smith. Jeff Okudah, decent depth guy. Like, I don't really think there's anywhere they really else need to improve. Maybe linebacker, but that's it.
Yeah, and no line. I mean,
Yeah. Well, yeah. They could use another tackle, but
and I even think that QB, right? I mean,
well, yeah. I
where are
mean,
they gonna go?
it seems like
Is
they're
it
just putting all
is
their
it
faith in
a
McCarthy.
McCarthy season?
Yeah.
And I think they are. I
Yeah.
think that's what they're going to do. But I mean, there's always things they can do. I think even this is gonna sound dumb, but a punter and a kicker. Those are
Well, they signed a punter, Ryan Wright.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how. I've never seen his tape,
I don't know.
so I don't know.
Or you're not watching punter
I
tape?
haven't seen Ryan Wright tape, but like getting a really good punter and a really good kicker are important things to like winning in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see that every year. I mean, Jake Elliott, he was making some of the games
Almost
a little
lost
bit
you guys a
closer.
couple games.
Yeah, making the games a little bit closer than they needed to be. Didn't matter in the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think those are important things, and they spent their money in the perfect ways. They got a lot of guys, and this Vikings team is going to be really good. The NFC North is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrifying for me. I this is the only A+ I'd give in this free agency class
okay.
is the Vikings, just because not that the Eagles or the Bears or anyone else didn't have a very good offseason. I just think the Vikings just had like a head over shoulders.
Yeah.
Just it's just the best
Yeah,
by a decent margin. So I would give them an A+. And that's it for the NFC North. So if
Well,
you'd like to take
and
yours.
I'll go ahead and take it over to the AFC North, and start with the Ravens. Speaking of having to get a kicker, they have to get a kicker. Let's get Justin Tucker out of here.
Yeah.
They need to invest more in the defense, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they did get DeAndre Hopkins, and they re-signed Ronnie Staley, and I think that was pretty much all they did.
Yeah. Well, they signed Ben Cleveland. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
He re-signed with them too, which means
So that's important for sure.
Ooh, yeah.
But I give him a B minus. Not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, just made it to a deep run in the playoffs. So, and would be playing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship without a Mark Andrews drop.
Yeah.
So, I give it a B minus. Hopefully, get some good guys in the draft. Get another weapon for Lamar. Buff up that defense. B minus. I want to move to the Browns. This is another team that going into the offseason, I was skeptical of what they were going to do because it's like, in what position do you go right now?
Yeah.
Your defense is good. Your offense is terrible. You have no room in the cap. What's the plan?
Yeah.
But they actually had a good plan. They kept Myles Garrett. They didn't trade him. And I think they would have gotten a lot of draft capital and could have sprung forward like the rebuild.
Yeah.
But I think that they know they are so bad at drafting
Yeah.
that there's no point in doing that. Like they're just like, let's not even attempt to draft. But I think they got a lot of good guys like Malik Collins. They re-signed, but they got Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from the Bucks, I believe.
Yeah, I was trying to pronounce his last name in my head while you were.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it either, but I know that he's pretty solid. They got Cornelius Lucas and Devin Bush who re-signed.
Yep.
I really like this. It's pretty solid. And it's one of those destinations people don't want to go, but they were able to get a few solid guys, and I give this a B.
Yeah.
Obviously, they also traded for Kenny Pickett, who I think honestly might be their best choice at starting QB.
Yeah.
This next season, I mean, Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett.
He did. He did. He took it. Some knees. So
Yeah, and threw an incompletion.
and threw an incompletion. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is pretty good.
I'd agree.
I give it a B.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep it on the B train with the Bengals. I gave them a B minus because given that money to Chase and Higgins, finally that drama's over.
I know.
Finally they're here to stay. I really love it. I think they got great value on Higgins' contract, and Jamar got the money he needs.
Yeah.
So keeping that offense intact is really good. I thought releasing Alex Kappa was smart, free up a lot of room.
Yeah, they freed up like 8
for someone who had a terrible year. They got Oren Burks from the Eagles, Samaje Perine, and Tadaro Slayton, who I think those are all decent depth guys. Oren Burks might be a starter. I think he had a great playoffs for us when he stepped in.
They're only paying him $2.5 million a year, so $2.5 million for
and their defense is where they need to put all their eggs.
Yeah,
and I think that they'll continue to do that. And I think that the Trey Hendrickson, that is the final piece.
Yeah.
You got to move him.
Yep.
You got to move him, free up a cap room, and put together what you can.
Yeah.
And accept that it's better to spread out what you got than and focus it on one guy. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think draft night is
I think
gonna
he
be
could
his
definitely be a
destination.
trade up package item.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be livid if I was Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah. So I give him a B minus. And then hitting on the last team of the division, the Steelers. This might be controversial, but I give him a D minus. This is really bad.
Yeah, this is
Not getting a QB at all.
no.
At least so far. The grade would be entirely different if they were able to get a QB. They got DK, Slay, Kenneth Gainwell, Malik Harrison, but no QB. I mean, they literally just have Mason Rudolph on the roster right now. Not retaining Fields, I thought was a huge mistake. He played pretty well for them last year. They also lost Najee. They lost two other linemen, Dante Jackson and Landon Roberts. I think that this is not like they lost more than they got. They got
Yeah.
DK, they got Slay, they got Malik Harrison. Yay. But they lost so much. And I think that if they get Aaron Rodgers, I think that if they get Aaron Rodgers, I think that brings it up to maybe a C, but because I just don't trust in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We got to see what happens come draft time. But right now, it's looking pretty bad.
Yeah, even the DK signing, I was like, I like the trade. You got him for a second round pick. But oh my god, the immediate $30 million a year for 4 years, I did not like that. There were a lot of signings this offseason that I thought were complete overpays, and this is one of them. I think he's a good receiver.
I don't agree with that.
I don't think he's worth $30 million a year.
I think they got the same exact. They have two clones of George Pickens. They have George Pickens and DK, who are just clones of themselves.
Yeah.
And then they have no one to throw them the ball. Now, if they get someone to throw them the ball, it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I just think that was kind of an overpay in my opinion.
But let's move on to the West teams.
All right. Yeah. NFC West.
Yeah, NFC West and AFC West. You can go first.
All right. We'll start with the Cardinals. I'm neutral on this offseason. I like the Josh Sweat signing a lot. They only got him for $19 million a year.
That's pretty awesome.
That's one of the signings I really love.
Yep, annoying.
Yeah, I'm sure. Other than that, I mean, like Kelvin Beachum, they re-signed Evan Brown. I wasn't, super impressed with a lot of these other signings in any way. So I'd give this like a C plus, just because, like I said, a pretty average offseason. You're just kind of losing and gaining some depth guys, but I think that Josh Sweat signing was very good.
Yeah.
And I think he'll help to change that offense around very well, or that defense around very well.
Bro does not know ball.
Oh my god!
When you just said Josh Sweat was on offense. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. When you said Josh Sweat was on offense. Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of these are solid because it's like they're either lateral moves or they're good moves.
Yeah.
But they don't do enough to change. So a lot of these are just going to be B's or C's.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah.
All right, on to the Rams. They were able to restructure Stafford's contract, and they freed up a ton of cap space, which allowed them to sign Devontae, and re-signed Tutu Atwell. Re-signed Alaric Jackson. They signed Poona Ford, Laurel Murchison. I don't like that they're cutting Cooper Kupp. I mean, obviously Devontae is his direct replacement, but this is a pretty solid offseason, and I don't think the Rams really needed all that much anyways. Like, they basically replaced Aaron Donald with the draft last year with Jared Verse and oh my god, what's his name? I wanted us to draft him. Braden Fisk. They could use a corner. They could use a safety, but I think overall this is like a B. This is like a B. I'd say this is a B. They got some good guys in Devontae and Tutu. Tutu's a good depth guy. But they didn't lose anyone crazy either. So
Yeah.
I'd say this is a B.
Sorry, I was looking at Cooper Cup stuff because I wanted. We're about to talk about the Seahawks, and I saw a very weird headline that was like, Cooper Cup shares heartfelt tribute to his wife on her special day as Seahawks face disappointing news. And I was like, what in the hell are they talking about? I was like, disappointing news? And then it was just like, nothing.
He's getting cut.
No, it was just nothing. It was just like, anyways, sorry.
All right. On to the Niners, who, God, they might have had the worst offseason. They did. They did have the worst offseason.
I don't. Their team is still pretty good, though.
But they lost so many people. Their biggest signing was Mac Jones.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Like, okay, DeMarcus Robinson, great, whatever. Everyone else is like, okay, you also got Kyle Juszczyk. The big names in this free agency class are Mac Jones, Kyle Juszczyk, and DeMarcus Robinson. Everyone else, I couldn't give a shit about. This was a terrible offseason. This is my F.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty damn bad.
Really and who they lost too. They lost Talanoa Hufanga. They lost Charvarius Ward. Obviously, he didn't want to re-sign with them because of the family matters. They lost. Who else? They lost another. Oh, Dre Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw.
They lost Dre Greenlaw, who's a massive loss in the middle of the field. I mean, they still have Fred Warner, but he was still so good. They traded Debo, who, to be fair, wasn't doing much for him. But and they traded for Jordan Mason, knowing that Christian McCaffrey was in and out last year with injury. I give this an F.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, and I think that they were in a position where, they really don't have a shot at a Super Bowl, and they know that. And I think they were just like, let's let people go, and build with the core that stays.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So on to the last team in this division, the Seahawks. I like this offseason a lot. They signed Sam Darnold.
Really?
I don't mind it.
I'll let you go.
I like the Sam Darnold. I don't think they addressed everything they needed, but I like the Sam Darnold signing. I think they got him for a pretty decent pay, like $37.5 million a year. Or sorry, 33 million a year. We'll call it that. It's 105 million or 100.5 over 3. So like 33 million a year. They got Cup. I like that. They got him for 15. DeMarcus Lawrence. I think he's a good depth guy. Or he's depth guy. He's not a depth guy. I'm sorry. I think he's good. He's a really good vet presence, and he's going to do well on that defensive line. I don't know. Other than that, they signed MVS, River Craft. I don't know who that is. I'd give this a B, because I just think they did a great job addressing their needs. Actually, oh my God, I didn't even think about who they traded.
Yeah,
I was just looking at who they signed. Ooh, this is a C. Never mind. Yeah, the fact they traded Geno and DK.
They traded Geno, who I think is a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Oh,
Geno
is very accurate.
He is very good. I mean, look at what he did with that line last year. Look at his stats with arguably one of the not the worst. The Bears had the worst, but arguably one of the worst offensive lines of football. Yeah. And look what he was doing. I mean, I was watching games because I had DK on my fantasy team, and I was watching games and legitimately getting frustrated because Geno couldn't do anything not because no one's open, not because he's not good. It's because he has no time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And then they have no running game because their offensive line is so bad.
Yeah.
I think they did a terrible job addressing their needs.
Actually, I agree with you. I agree.
They traded away Geno for a third-round pick?
Third-round pick,
You're losing a top 10 quarterback for a third-round pick, and then give someone who's a little bit younger. Essentially, what they took was Geno Smith and got him younger for more expensive.
Yeah.
And then you trade away. You get Tyler Lockett retires, right?
Yeah.
Or did they release him?
I think they released him.
Okay. So you release Tyler Lockett, and then you trade away DK for a second rounder, and then they proceed to give him the money that you could have given him.
Yeah.
I think this is
I agree.
terrible.
I'm
They
turning
took
it.
their strongest position group and turned it into Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp, and then they took their top 10 quarterback and went to like top 12. Like they like
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
And-
I'm walking back on my
and their offensive line is so bad, and I think that their defense is going to be solid. I think that that's just something that's always going to be there for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But their line is just so terrible, and they're spending all this money. They're going to be such a mid team, and I think that this is really bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm walking back on the I didn't even think I wasn't even thinking about who they
If you
traded.
don't think about losing Geno and DK
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that.
and Tyler Lockett, like you're like, oh, well, they're still probably going to be good, and then
This is like a D. This is like a D. Like a D minus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back over to you for the AFC West.
Yeah, we'll do the AFC West, and then and that'll be it.
Like I said, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'll start with the Chiefs. I think this is a pretty okay season, or off season. They kept Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, Hollywood Brown, Charles Minahu, but they traded Joe Tooney to the Bears. I thought it was a little odd because I think Joe Tooney is the better out of Trey Smith.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Trey Smith is just younger.
Yeah, and I know, but it's just surprising that they did that. I think that
I knew it was a
especially with
good
that-
trade when Chiefs Twitter was very mad.
Yeah, and then they got Elijah Mitchell, and no one else really that moves the needle. And I think that it's also because they're such a good team. It's hard to get more guys to move the needle when the needle's already, if the dial's, like right here, they're already, they're already most of the way up.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, they signed Bailey Zappi though.
And Gardner Minshew.
Whoa, two backup
Dang,
quarterbacks.
they're probably gonna run a two quarterback offense.
Was that sniper formation? Is that what it is?
Maybe, I don't know. But I think the line is going to be a big issue, and you saw it in the Super Bowl. It was rough, and it was kind of something all year that they were struggling with, especially on the interior.
Yeah.
So
they signed Jalen Moore too, who I thought was a funny signing. I think me and my buddies were talking in our group chat about that. I was like, wow, they gave that guy $15 million a year.
Yeah, I mean but I'd have to give this a B minus because there's only so much they can do, but they just didn't really. I think they kept a lot of good guys. They didn't get anyone worth anything.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the Chargers, I think this is a C plus. Kept Khalil Mack, Bradley Bozeman.
Yeah, that pissed me.
Got Becton, Dante Jackson, Najee. I thought that was all really solid. But they didn't add any weapons for Herbert. I think that's the question. This has been the whole thing this whole time. Where are the weapons for Herbert?
Yeah.
Where's the defense? Didn't do anything.
And they got rid of Bosa.
And yeah, they lost Bosa. So it's like, who didn't really have a great season last year. But
he was just hurt.
Well, yeah, but
he just hurt.
Still, not a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, not playing is not good. And Khalil Mack, I think keeping him was. I think there's other guys they could have gotten. Khalil Mack's old. He's not great in coverage. He's solid, but I don't know. I give this a C plus because they didn't really hit on helping Herbert.
Yeah.
They did get Najee, who I think is a better running back than J.K. But I think this is a deep running back class. Why are you getting Najee when you could get any one of them? And they could. I mean, they probably will. But yeah. Moving to the Broncos, who again have had a great offseason. I think Sean Payton's really going to show out this next year.
This might be for me just below the Vikings for the best offseason.
They got Evan Ingram, 2 years, $23 million. Hufanga for 3 years, $45 million. Dre Greenlaw, 3 years, $35 million. And DJ Jones, 3 years, $39 million. And they got a lot of depth pieces too. And I think, like I've said, with most of the teams, they need to improve the line.
Yeah.
Because it's a bell curve thing. It's like it's opposite. So yeah, it's like the very good over here. Oh, the very good over here. Then you got this big curve of average, and then you have the stinky ones down here.
Yeah.
And that's where like the Bears, Texans,
Yeah.
Vikings are. And then you come up, and this is where the Broncos are. And just one more guy, they could push him over the edge.
Yeah.
But I still give it an A. I mean, great hitting on a lot of the needs, getting great players. I think this is going to be a fantastic.
I think
season for
that
the
Dre
Broncos.
Greenlaw signing was one of the best of free agents.
It might have been the best.
I mean, for what is that, like 12 or 13 or like 11.5 mil a year, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the better linebackers in the NFL.
Oh yeah. I mean,
him, and then pairing him up again with Hufanga. I really
another guy that's 49.
I know.
By the way.
Yeah.
So, and then I give them an A, and the same thing with the Raiders. I give the Raiders an A too. They stole Geno for a 3rd-round pick. I mean, getting a top 10 quarterback for a 3rd round when you have no one on your roster to play quarterback, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's insane. They kept Crosby, they Malcolm Knuch, and Adam Butler. That's all amazing. A+.
Yeah.
And they got Jeremy Chin, Mostert, and Alex Kappa. I don't like Alex Kappa because he just had such a bad
He was
season.
a triple crown for the worst offensive lineman
Yeah,
in the
like,
NFL.
He literally was the worst offensive lineman in football. But I mean, besides that, they really bolstered the defense. They don't have any receivers. They don't have any running backs.
Yeah.
They have the 6th overall pick. They can fix that.
Yeah.
I think the line, obviously, they can always improve. But having Geno is a huge need, and especially connecting with Pete Carroll, because that's when he had his best season.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited for this Raiders season.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
everyone.
pretty much it. I think the two of the Tom Brady related teams had the best offseason, the Raiders and the Patriots.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the draft now. I'm full draft mode.
Yep.
And like I said, next week we'll have a full 3-round mock draft.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to take like 2 hours to record.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Well, I don't think we'll talk about every pick, but we'll definitely.
No, I only have prepared commentary on like a couple of my picks. So.
Yeah. I think that'll make it a little bit more easy to digest.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Or hear you. Well, I guess I don't want to hear you, but you can hear me. I don't want to hear you next week.
That would be weird.
I'm like showering next week, and I'm like, and I just hear like in my head like, that was a dog shit take.
That was a terrible take on the couch.
That was a ass take you had. But thank you.
We're definitely cutting that out.
I almost said I love you. I don't know why. Like I think I've been on the phone with my girlfriend so much that I'm just like, whenever I'm hanging up or getting done, I almost said like, okay, love you, bye.
you don't love the viewers at the couch?
What, all 5?
Oh, well,
I
I
love
love
1/5
you.
of the audience.
I love you, Dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love 1/5 of the audience.
I'm sure my dad will listen
family.
to this at some point. Love you, Dad.
I also love you, BT Grant.
Yeah, Julian also. Bruh.
Dude, that's what we need. We need him to record it so we can put it on the soundboard.
I'll get him to finally send like a what is that? Audio file. I'll get him in
Wave MP3
of him going, bruh.
All right, well, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week for the mock draft.
Yeah. Get ready for the shit post.